and welcome to Conversations for Charity. I'm Christine Noble-Seller, and I'm your host for this online guest speaker series for animals and nature lovers. I'm a professional animal and nature communicator, and I support families and animals in care, wildlife, and nature. And I'm joining you today from my home in Ontario, Canada. And welcome, Melissa from Springfield, Illinois. So the series this year for 2023 is part of my sacred activism, which is my way of focusing on energy on what I'd like to see more of in the world. And this is in response to connecting and communicating and collaborating with the natural world. So the focus for this year's series is to highlight intuitive interspecies communication, specifically how it supports animals in our homes and shelters and sanctuaries, veterinary clinics, wildlife conservation, the whole of the animal kingdom like we're doing today, and with nature through these interactive conversations with intercommunication, there's so many I's with this, through intuitive interspecies communicators, so that we share information and resources while raising awareness and funds for ethical animal, wildlife, and nature sanctuaries. And 100% of the proceeds from this conversation are going to be donated to Pea's chosen charity. So I'm very grateful for your interest, support, and that you're here today. Our conversation today is about animal communication with the whole animal kingdom. I'm super delighted to introduce today's guest speaker, Pea Horsley. Pea is the UK's most highly regarded animal communication specialist. Sowing the seeds of profound transformation, her goal is to deepen our personal and spiritual understanding of the natural world, rewilding our connection along the way by offering grounded, practical, and compassionate teachings to everyone, from complete beginners and those with more developed intuitive skills. Pea is the founder of Animal Thoughts and co-creator of the Pride Animal Wisdom Membership, along with the Animal Kingdom. It's a community for people to engage in deep, profound, and healing heart-to-heart communications with species who step forward to be heard in timely fashion with the elevation of consciousness on Mother Earth. Pea supports people on their animal communication journey with an online course, Animal Communication Made Easy, 3 best-selling books, Heart to Heart, The Animal Communicator's Guide Through Life, Loss, and Love, and Animal Communication Made Easy. She's also done a TEDx talk on interspecies connection. She mentors and offers in-person and online events and workshops, including collaborations with HeartMath, Shiva Carr, South African animal communicator Winter Thorstern, founder of the Global White Lion Protection Trust, Linda Tucker, and co-chair of the African Pangolin Working Group, Alexis Creel, and wildlife photographer Gareth Thomas. Pea created the Conversations with Nature World Summit in an answer to the animals' request, an annual or biannual online event bringing together 24 inspiring speakers sharing interspecies communication, ecological wisdom, conscious consciousness is true, cosmic consciousness, and sacred activism. Now in its 3rd year, this is a free online event for animal lovers and nature appreciators and those seeking to revitalize their relationship with the natural world. Pea's ethical wildlife animal communication retreats held around the globe are heart adventures into the deepest aspects of animal wisdom, love, and transformation. Pea was awarded, I think she should have been awarded. Pea was nominated for the Woman of Peace Award in 2022. Welcome, Pea.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for this conversation for charity. I'm so grateful, and I'm really honored that I've been asked to be here. Thank you so much, Christine.
Great. So Pea, can you tell us about your chosen charity, who you've chosen? Why did you choose to highlight their work?
Okay, so we're very lucky that Alexis Creel, who is the co-chairperson of this charity, is with us for this gathering. And the charity I chose is the African Pangolin Working Group. And the reason I chose them is because my heart is so drawn to them. The first time I think I really became aware of pangolins is when they showed up in my Pride membership. Each month a different species chooses to come. I have no say. In 1 month, the pangolins turned up. And I got to know them a bit then. And that experience has never left me, and I still really feel them. And Alexis and I connected over the conversations with Nature World Summit last year. And then at the end of last year, it was a wonderful collaboration between Alexis Creel and Gareth Thomas, where we did this completely free event called Talking with the Ancient Ones, which was all about communicating and with pangolins and starting to learn who they are and what they need and how we as humans impact them. And so I didn't have to question at all why I chose this particular organization. It was just immediate. These are the ones I wish to highlight their incredible work. And is this a good time to introduce Alexis? Yeah. So Alexis Creel, she's the African Pangolin Working Group co-chairperson. She comes from a media background as a journalist and filmmaker. She has managed her own businesses, has an international certification in wildlife rehabilitation from the IWRC, which is the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council, and is a member of the IUCN Pangolin Specialist Group. And Alexis started working with the pangolins in 2014 with the rehabilitation of pangolin pups in the Central African Republic. And she qualifies as one of a handful of people in the world who has worked hands-on with 3 of the 4 African pangolin species. And she continues to pursue self-development and personal transformation while applying her professional skills to the task of saving pangolins from extinction. And I'm just delighted that you are here, Alexis.
P, I'm always available for you, and your communication skills are way beyond mine, and ours, as we work with pangolins in the field, and always pangolins that have been retrieved from the illegal wildlife trade. This friendship between us and the collaborations that you involve us in lead us into a deeper place. And for me, that continues to be extremely important for my own personal journey and for the journey of the world. And I think that pangolins are representative of every animal on Earth that has been abused and commodified and traded by humans, taken out of their natural environment, where we really wish to see them free, continuing to play in the canopies of rainforests and in the wild, wide open African savannas and wherever they belong. So that's what we continue to aspire towards. And it's an honor for me to be here and to contribute to the session in any way. I personally am looking forward to it very much, just for my own personal enrichment. Thank you, P.
Thank you. Thank you. And we should also mention your website, which is africanpangolin.org, so people can find the organization.
Thank you.
And the follow-up email that everyone who's registered for today will receive tomorrow with the replay will have links to P and her work, as well as to the African Pangolin working group. So whether you want to follow them on Facebook, receive their newsletters, learn more about them, it'll be at your fingertips. So it's so beautiful to witness your connection, Pea and Alexis, and I'm grateful that you're both here today for this conversation. So a little bit about what you can expect from today's conversation for those of you who have not been to a Conversations for Charity event before. A little bit about the format. So Pea and I are going to have a little conversation, which you get to listen in on. And then she's going to have a very special experience for you, where she is going to bring through live animal communication with a species who would like to speak to those who are here today. Then we're going to move into a Q&A, which is time for you to ask questions about what you've heard, share your experiences, and you're even welcome to comment on the live communication if you wish. And then we're going to wrap up with some news from Pea and Alexis, if she has any, about what they're up to. And then we'll close with a group goodbye and thank you. So we're going to mute the chat just for now. So Allison, if you can mute the chat. Pea and I are going to start our little conversation. And if anything that we speak about, you have a question or comment, please just jot it down and you can bring it forward when we open up the conversation for everyone. And I'm just going to make sure everyone is on mute, just so that we have super good sound quality for the live and the replay. And hello, Mo, I missed you in the chat. Mo from Carleton Place in Ontario. Hi, Mo, great to see you. Okay, Pea, I've been looking forward to this conversation for weeks. So I'd love to hear about your journey into animal communication. When you started out to where you're at today, can you tell us about your journey? When and how you got started? What's unfolded? And where are you at today?
Big question. Where am I at today? Okay, so I've always been an animal lover. You know, I used to sneak out the house, go around to the farmer's field and literally sit on the fence and talk to the animals and not even question that they could communicate with me. It was just, you know, I was a child. It was in the moment. And all of my friends were generally stuffed toys of animals, and I liked to be quiet, and I was shy. And that continued through to high school, where you know, I was the misfit generally. Because I was so quiet, people kind of didn't know who I was because I was quiet. And so I learned to live with my imagination quite a lot. I learned to turn to animals for connection quite a lot. I had he's up there, Winston, a beautiful pale ginger cat that was my best friend. And then I moved into theatre as a theatre stage manager, which I did for 15 years. Working with, you know, Harold Pinter and various people that you'll know, Alan Rickman, Judi Dench, blah, blah. But I reached a point where I thought, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to get back to my first love, which is animals. And it was at the same time that my partner was really interested in a dog. And we had already got a cat, Texas, who is this guy here. And my partner was saying, you know, what kind of thing do you want to do with animals? And I was like, I don't know. But I know it's none of these things, you know, when we talked about dog walker, cat sitter, cattery, behaviorist, all those things. I said, it's something else. I don't even have the name for it. And then we adopted our first dog together, Morgan, and he essentially introduced me to animal communication. I went on a workshop. I was really skeptical. I nearly walked out. I came home going, I think I've just been talking to a rabbit, from a photograph to my partner, who was like, okay, tell me about it. I went on a second workshop, and that's where I you know, I had my light bulb moment and went, oh my God, it took me 2 workshops. This is the thing. This is the thing. I didn't have a name for it. I didn't know what it was. And it was an instant awakening, and it was an instant, I'm going to do everything I have to do in order to work professionally as an animal communicator, because this is what I'm meant to be doing. And then over the years, you know, my personal growth has expanded, and I've started to get a much more sort of grounded realization that this is why I'm here. Actually, this is my purpose. My role in life is to be of service to the animal kingdom. So it was tricky at the start, you know, at the start you question everything. Am I doing it right? Da, 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 da. I never had that problem, Christine, where I questioned about leaving theatre and turning professional. I spent a year training mainly with Amelia Kincaid and tracking missing animals during the half-hour call during the theatre shows, when really, as the company stage manager, I should be schmoozing all the actors and checking everybody's okay. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do it. Amelia had said, yeah, you know, do it. And then I'd had a clear sign, basically. My theatre tool bag was open with all my bits in it. And Texas got in the tool bag and emptied his entire bladder, full bladder, in the bag. And he was like, yep, your theatre days are done. Make that leap. And that's what I did. And then I've just been slogging away and working hard to get better at this and to help more people and help more animals.
I knew the broad strokes, Pea, but it was fun to hear some more intimate details and how Texas very clearly told you, done, piss off theater, we're finished. Time to move on.
Yeah.
So how many years have you been working professionally now, Pea?
I think it's 16. It's about to be 17 in May.
Great. Wonderful. Congratulations. So can you share on a couple of things from 2 sides? You mentioned that as an animal communicator, you are in service to the animal kingdom. So how has your role being in service grown? But can you, after you share that, can you also tell us about how we can play that role, how we can also be in service to the natural world?
Yeah, sure. So when I started out, it was very much about communicating with somebody's cat or their dog or their horse or the rabbit or the guinea pig or whoever it was, in order to help them reach a better understanding of what's been miscommunicated between both beings. And I think that is really a quite common foundation, which I would say now is the animal kingdom's way of helping us to learn our craft. And then what happened is that I started to feel drawn to other areas where I was asked by a lion in a wildlife park, essentially animals in captivity, to bring people there. And I was like, are you sure? And yes. And this lion was speaking for all of the animals in the wildlife park. And so for about 4 or 5 years, I took groups there to communicate with those animals and to understand them better and their awareness of other animals outside of that park and how they communicated with each other. And then had a clear sign, and the Aldebra tortoise told me, you're done, you're out of here. Next step, basically next step. And I feel a lot of the time I'm going to correct that. All of the time I am directed by the animals about where they want me and how the clock says 222. There you go. About where they want me, what they wish me to do. And so I've just been listening, and this is what I would suggest to people. It's really about listening and paying attention. So I ask the entire animal kingdom, how can I best be of service to you? Is the best question I tend to ask them, and be careful by asking it, you've got to be careful because they will ask things of you. But it can be as simple as starting out with, how can I be in service to the nature outside my home? How can I be of service to the birds or the squirrels or the foxes or whatever the beings are that live in close proximity to where I am based? Or perhaps you have a particular species that you adore. How can you be of service to them? What can I do to raise awareness about this species? You know, can I not have a coffee and donate that coffee to an organization that I really believe in? You know, because there's always a little bit of slush fund. There's always a little bit of money we could pull back on in order to redirect, is what I feel. Rather than having a pizza out, maybe I'll just go and buy a £5 pizza from the supermarket, and then that balance I'll donate to an organization, etc. And a lot of it is also energetic activism. So in fact, Alexis and I were talking prior to this conversation, and I'm saying it's going to be a very intimate group, and Alexis said, but it's about the intention of the energy. You know, we are gathered here together today, anchoring the energy of this intention to raise awareness of animal communication and pangolins and sacred service to the animal kingdom. So we are the cheerleaders, we are the lionesses and the lions right here, right now. But this will ripple out from our hearts and those conversations that we have with others as well. Does that answer the question?
Yes. You mentioned that when you ask the animals, you have to be aware they will ask things of you.
Yeah.
Is there anything that in particular that comes to mind where perhaps that ask surprised you, or you felt stretched, or it caught you off guard?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I can, yeah, the biggest one is the conversations with Nature World Summit. I first asked when we all went into lockdown, because of course all the workshops stopped, and they asked me to reach as many people as possible. So I did a Facebook, Instagram live once a week with a different animal coming forward, and reached about 50,000 people each week. That was quite a hurdle for me to get over, my fear of that exposure and the energy that comes back towards you when you open up like that. And we did it for 8 weeks. The animal kingdom said 8 weeks, that infinity sign on its side. Again, that was just another means, I think, for them to give me the practice in order to go further. Then the Pride membership happened, and that's monthly animals and bringing a collective group of people together where we anchor the energy, and everything is so much stronger when we come together in numbers. And then just before Christmas 2021, I asked them again, and they were like, we've got to reach more people. What does that look like for you? Huge as you dare. And I was like, oh my God, that means something online again. What do they mean? That must be like a summit or a conference. And then for 2 weeks, I had to work through my inner fear over that, my buts and what ifs. And then I said to them, I said, okay, I'm going to do it 4 days. 4 days is my max. You know, that's as huge as I dare, 4 days. And summits are not for the faint-hearted. They are the hugest amount of work you can ever imagine. They are a massive lesson in trust, because I have to give so much of my personal income in order to create the event. And you never know if you're going to have that covered. And that's not the aim. The aim is not that. You know, all these lessons from the animal kingdom come all the time. It's selfless service. It's about putting yourself out there so much because it's what you believe in. You become the, Texas just chipped in there, figurehead. He just said figurehead for for this sorry, it's just so hard when you have your cat talking to you at the same time, telling you what to say. Cooperative of sentient beings with good hearts and compassionate, caring ability to unite the world. So that's my biggest challenge from the animal kingdom most recently. And I'm actually not going to ask for the next few months because I need to have a rest.
Good for you. Good for you. One more question off script that comes to mind, because I know so many people here today are either interested in this field, are students, are animal practitioners, or professional communicators, or are working with animals. You did touch on it, but when you have those doubts, those fears, those inner uh-ohs, what do you do that helps you personally, and how do the animals help you to fulfill their ask?
Well, what I personally do is I talk to Texas. If you have an animal, if you're communicating and you have an animal that you turn to for support, you can do it that way. Another way is to journal, because when you're journaling, you can often have that conversation with your inner child about, is this barrier really a barrier, or is it a fear that I can work around? And that's a really helpful way of looking at things. Because what I found was that all the barriers I came up with were about, keeping myself small. Who am I to do this thing? Surely there's someone else better qualified. Or fear about, that's a huge monetary risk. Yeah, but look at the cause, look at the greater good in it all, look at the higher service, commit that, don't expect anything back. And what I find is that the entire animal kingdom will come and support me. And I'm not saying like my whole room floods with everybody, but if I need some boundaries and protection, bear will come and be present. If I need nurturing and a maternal hug, elephant will be here. And so the different species of animals who want this to happen will also champion it. So I think if you're communicating with your own animals or a different species, ask them, have conversations about your fears, and they will work it through with you. If not, pick up a journal and talk to your inner child. The way I like to do that, because I'm right-handed, is I will write the question with my right hand and then I'll answer it with my left hand. And that really unblocks a lot of essentially conditioning.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing those tips. I think that a lot of people took strength from that, and I appreciate your power of example. So the topic is animal communication with the whole animal kingdom. So how do we communicate with the whole animal kingdom? How do we listen? We'll talk about the benefits, maybe secondary, because there are benefits to ourselves to listening, but there's also benefits to the other animals that are listening. So there's benefits to all involved. So how do we listen? How do we engage? And how does everyone benefit from that exchange?
I realize it can sound a little bit daunting, can't it, when you say animal communication with the whole animal kingdom, and it's like, whoa, I can hardly chat to my cat, let alone everybody. But really, it's the same method. It's about dropping down into that hot space where communication is possible, so that we remove the analytical, logical mind, the one that questions everything. And then everything is through intention, which is exactly the same way that we communicate with an animal that we wish to communicate, dog, cat, horse, whoever it is. So it's so simple, and yet I think a lot of people get scared by the simplicity. Surely it can't be that simple. But it really is simple. It's really about being present. It's about setting your intention. You know, my intention is that I wish to communicate with the entire animal kingdom. And you can say, I just wish to receive the message as a whole collective. Or you can say, I wish to communicate with the entire animal kingdom and my favorite species, the pangolin. Perhaps you would like to be the one that shares with me so I can focus on you. You can do it that way. But it's really the same. It's just the same as communicating with one single animal. It's through intention. It's through quietening the mind, dropping down into the heart. I share love and share appreciation. I say, you know, my agenda, I'm here because I'd love to communicate with you. And then ask the question, you know, I'm addressing the entire animal kingdom. What would you like to share with this group right now in this Conversations for Charity? And in fact, my response, I've addressed the entire animal kingdom, but what I'm seeing with my mind's eye is a giraffe standing, looking this way, and the message is stand tall. I know that seems obvious, but sometimes they are obvious. Stand tall, look around you, be part of your environment. And then the message clearly is pause. And then I felt breathe. So that's giraffe's response to just an instant request. Because the other thing we have to realize is that, you know, they are tuned in and listening all the time. They can choose whether to respond or not. Of course, everybody has free will, but all of nature is listening. We are part of nature as human beings. We're really the only species that tunes out and talks more than we listen. I feel like there's another part of that question and I've missed it.
That's fine. I'll pick up the thread. I was just so grateful for your power of example again, to simplify and make it accessible. Like it is the same as speaking to an individual animal to speak to everyone, and you can ask to speak to a specific species. And that you just shared it with giraffe showing. And I smiled because one of the things I do each morning, I like oracle cards, and giraffe showed up. And his was, you know, from his vantage point, because of that stand tall and that perspective, and being able to look around from a higher perspective, which is often a more compassionate perspective. I find there's some distance. So,
and I like that, Christine. And that's something that I would also encourage everyone to pay attention to, is those signs from the animal kingdom and the nature kingdom, where, you know, giraffe came to you first thing this morning. So they were already going to be part of this, clearly. And then they were the one that I saw, and I've not thought of giraffe all day, all week. In fact, I've not thought of giraffe, but there they are right there. So we pay attention to that. And after this conversation, I would encourage everybody to spend time with giraffe.
Yeah, it's a beautiful invitation. Yeah, so the second part of the question, P, is just, why do this? How do we benefit?
Yeah, it's always got to be what's in it for me?
Yeah, but also to broaden our perspective, how do the other animals benefit? Because we're all animals, but often we are human-centric. So why would we do this? What is our motivation? What are we going to get out of this?
I would hope that our motivation is curiosity and a desire to make things better. And the rewards for reaching out to the animal kingdom they go much deeper than just hearing a giraffe say stand tall. You know, it's about elevating consciousness. It's about interconnecting rays of light across the planet. It's about raising awareness of conservation issues. It's about understanding the part that we play as a human being on this planet that impacts an animal that we perhaps have no contact with or have never met in the wild. And once we start listening, perspectives change. And when perspectives change and we gain greater awareness, that shifts energy. And it's this shifting of energy which is actually the most vital. I'm just waiting to hear the word crucial comes up again. And I keep wanting to say desire. We really need to be doing nothing else but listening. You know, we get very redirected by the small stuff and the petty worries and the conflicts, because we forget to anchor in our heart every day. And what communicating with the animal kingdom does for us is it brings us into that heart space, because that's where we have to communicate from. And then our life starts to transform. I mean, massively. I can't believe that I am the same person now than I was 16 years ago. You know, I feel totally changed by opening up to listening to animals and what they want to communicate. And sometimes it's, you know, have fun, bring the joy in your life. And they remind us not to sweat the small stuff. And all of these lessons that they bring are not about, you know, solely about we're having a hard time, you need to do better. Often their lessons are so loving and they have so much forgiveness. They're like, think about what brings you joy. Do what makes you happy. Bring that energy into the world. That is what Mother Earth needs in order to evolve. And for us as a species to evolve with her, let's focus on that. Let's not drop down into those lower frequency states of guilt or fear or anger. Let's rise right up to, you know, 540 hertz and beyond. And those are the messages a lot of the time from the animal kingdom. So what do we get from talking with them? Oh my gosh, it's limitless. Honestly, I'd say it's limitless.
Yeah. When I tell people from my experience and observing the experience of others that speaking to animals is so much more than speaking to animals and will transform their lives, they have to experience it directly, I find, because they can't comprehend what that will look and feel like until they have an experience directly. So one more aspect of that question, how do the animals feel when we talk to them? And how does it benefit them?
Okay, so Texas wants to answer this. Well, it's about time. We feel the deepest and the most profound gratitude that you are with us on the planet when you listen. We find this sharing a consciousness very rewarding. It soothes us. It brings us so much happiness and joy. When we feel that we are with you. And giraffes back. Don't underestimate your power. And don't do what Pea said and act small. Stand tall. Own your body. Own your energy. Be your soul self. We love you. And okay, this is also the whales are right here for this one. And we want you to love yourselves. Whale, things change when you love yourself. Truly.
Thank you, Texas giraffe and whale and Pea for giving them voice. So one last question in our conversation before I hand it over to you, Pea, to do some more sharing from any animal species that want to speak to us today. Let's talk about community and the importance of community and what community is creating and supporting, and specifically, what is it creating and supporting?
You know, this is really the time on the planet when community is crucial and collaboration is crucial. The coming together across time and space with shared intentions to bring more love and compassion and to elevate consciousness. And when we do that, even in small numbers, I know Lynn McTaggart has been doing some intention experiments, and encourage everyone to check out her work if you don't know her. And she's been doing them with groups of 8. And some of her larger intention experiments have the most profound effects, positive effects, when there are a group of people that come together with the intention of whatever that intention is, sending healing to those affected by war or earthquakes. When I say those, all beings, including the plants and the trees. And that it does make a difference. And it's like we power up when we come together, and it really has to be 2 or more people. When we come together with shared intention from our hearts, it amplifies. Like just us coming together now, the 12 of us here right now, we're here with an intention, and by listening and being present with our hearts open, we're having a ripple effect right here, right now, across the entire planet. And I know that's hard to see. So there's a huge amount of trust that's involved, that's needed. All I can say is I have it on good authority from the animals that it is needed, it is practical, and it is beneficial. So I'm strongly pulled to collaborations and community gatherings right now, where it's aligned with why I'm here on this planet.
Can you give us an example of a collaboration that just filled your heart?
Oh, well, that's easy because it's with Alexis and Gareth and the Pangolins, talking with the ancient ones, which we did last year. And everybody can find it on my YouTube channel. There's 2 sections. Yes, it's really lovely working with somebody of like-heartedness, basically, that works from service, works from a place of just wanting to make a difference in whatever way, and it can be a slight, small way, but that makes a big difference. I'm really happy to be collaborating with you for these conversations for charity as well. And I'm so grateful that you created this initiative, which I think is brilliant. So it's what calls my heart, Christine, to be honest. Currently, I'm collaborating with the entire animal kingdom for the upcoming Conversations with Nature Summit. And particularly Texas tells me yes, no, kind of things like that. So I receive a lot of energy from these heart-based collaborations, and I would encourage everybody that listens to this, if there is someone that you would like to work with or share space with, if there is an organization that you would love to do something with, just approach them. Don't think, oh, but they won't, just approach them, be honest about why you're reaching out, and ask them, can we do something? Or can I create some kind of event where I could help raise awareness of your organization and the work that you do, whatever that is, because you'll be surprised that actually people love to be approached, and organizations would be happy to have somebody reach out and go, how can I help you? Because that's basically what you're doing. And then depending on what they've got going on, they'll be able to go, fabulous timing, synchronicity. Yeah, let's do something right now.
And if you're not clear on how you can help, that's where you can use animal communication and get guidance. So that concludes my conversation with Pea. I've really enjoyed it. I'm so glad I could see so many people nodding their heads. I feel like you and Alexis are heart sisters in terms of your work together. I'm going to turn it over to you, Pea, now for the experiential exercise component of this conversation. So if you want to go ahead and explain it, tell us what you'd like us to do. It's all yours. And then when we close that, we will come back and open up the conversation to everyone that's here.
Yeah. So like you said earlier, actually, I really believe in practical first experience. That's, I'd rather have an experience than go and look it up in the book. And so that's how I learn. So what I would like to offer everybody, if you'd like to engage, is a practical experience where I guide you into a communication with the whole animal kingdom. I will be asking the pangolins whether they'd like to step forward, but you might find it's a different species. You might find it's your own animal at home that comes to speak for the entire animal kingdom. So if you would like to engage in this exercise with me, please put your feet on the floor to remind yourself of your grounding with earth energy. Relax your hands in your lap, whatever way feels most comfortable, and close your eyes. And bring all of your focus now to where you're seated, to your body, to your breath. And when you find your mind wandering from your breath, just bring it back. And bring your awareness to breathing in. And when you're breathing out, and start counting your breath in. And then your breath out. And try to create an even number, breathing in and breathing out. And as you're breathing, if you're feeling you're holding yourself anywhere in your body, when you exhale, just exhale into that area and relax and let go. And try and elongate your breath to breathing in over 5 and breathing out over 5. Glide your awareness softly down into your heart now. Just bring your awareness to your heart area. You might want to place your left hand over your heart just to bring your focus there. And imagine now that you're breathing into your heart space over 5 and then out over 5. So while you're doing this, what you're actually doing is you're coming into what Heart Math Institute call heart coherence. Heart space with life, with everything that exists. And while you continue breathing, have the intention that you're radiating love out from your heart space to the whole animal kingdom. Through the front of your chest and out through your back. And the beam of light can be any color that resonates for you in this moment. And the intention is, I wish to communicate with the whole animal kingdom. Animal kingdom, we are present here, wishing to connect with you or a representative. And we're here with open hearts, curiosity and compassion. We invite you to come closer, And we thank you for your presence. And you may become aware in your mind's eye or your inner knowing of different species in front of you, behind you, or to the sides of you. Maybe your inner guidance is taking you to the ocean or to the air. And we thank you for being present with us. And now I encourage each person to ask the question of the representative or the whole animal kingdom. Is there anything you would like to communicate to me? Is there anything you would like to communicate to me? So from that place of curiosity, you may receive an emotion, a thought inside your mind, an image, a video clip, emotion, that gut knowing, in whatever way you mostly receive your communication. And accept the very first thing. And if you wish to, you could ask this question: how can I be of service to you? How can I be of service to you? And you can ask them this question if you wish to. In sacred activism, what is the truth behind me stepping forward to be a sacred activist? What is the truth behind me stepping forward to be a sacred activist? And now I invite you to take a moment for you to communicate anything that you wish to the representative or to the whole animal kingdom, whatever comes up for you. What is it your heart wishes to speak? Share this now with the animal kingdom in any way that resonates for you. And now my intention is to invite the pangolins to join us, to come closer. And for you to share space with pangolin. And perhaps you would like to ask pangolin, how can I help you? How can I help you? So please thank pangolin, the representative of the whole animal kingdom. Thank you for communicating with me and being present with me. I love you. Have the intention now of bringing your energy back to yourself, returning to your physical body, dissolving that intention of that heart-to-heart connection with them, and bringing your awareness back to your hands and your feet and your eyes, and gently open your eyes when you're ready. And you might like to take a few notes if you're like me and you have a bad memory of anything that you experienced. And perhaps it would be lovely if we have time just to invite people to either put something in chat about, who did you meet? Did you meet the whole animal kingdom? A representative? Which species came to you? It would be interesting to know who you sensed. I think it's pelican, right? You know, the bird, the big white bird that's renowned for delivering babies.
Stork.
A stork. The stork came. Oh, male. And I got the feeling that I'm helping deliver babies.
And Allison said wolf. So Allison, the chat is open. So thank you for opening up the
That's right.
chat. So we're going to move into the part of the conversation where you're all invited to whether to pop in the chat who you spoke with, or if you wish to share your exchange or how you might be of sacred service. It's also your opportunity to comment and ask questions of Pea and Alexis about today while we're here. So we'll spend some time doing that before we wrap up and hear from news from Pea and Alexis and what to expect after today is over. So yeah, and you know, we're such a small group. Rather than raising your digital hand, it sounds like everyone knows how to put in the chat. If you don't know where chat is, just whatever device you're on, you're going to want to touch the screen or move your mouse, and you're going to see a bubble and it says chat, and it'll pull up a little sidebar and you can key in. But just put your hand up if you have a question or you want to share. Yeah. So Melissa, a zebra. Anybody want to share or ask a question more detail? Krista, go ahead, please.
Hi, I just wanted to thank all of you and Pea and Christine for being here. I'm very new to this scene, but Pea, to give you some confirmation that your World Summit reached me last year, and then I spread it to many, many friends. And so that was like kind of the start. So it's only been about a year.
Thank you so much. Thank you for engaging, and thank you so much for sharing. I need everyone to share. The animals want to reach as many people as possible.
It was truly amazing. And it was kind of just meant to be. Just right before that, I did have a dog pass, and that's how I got started on this journey, because I was after he passed, I was able to speak with him, and I didn't even know this existed until that time. And so it's been a wild 1.5 year journey for me, and but so excited, and this was really enticing for me, just because I do want to follow my heart and do something in this industry, but I don't know how to proceed. So today was really fun to talk to the animal kingdom. I had a bunch show up. So I had hippo, I had a giraffe, still elephant, the pangolin, and dogs and cats in general. So supporting me. So anyways, just thank you for what you do. And I'm a little awestruck, to be honest, because I've been following you for a year, and now I get to say hi personally. So
hi, it's so nice to connect with you, and please come for the next summit next month.
Absolutely, I will. And I am part of the Pride, and I do follow that as well. So
fabulous. Thank you, my darling.
You're welcome. Okay.
Thank you, Krista, for kicking off the Q&A. And that's part of the idea of this Conversations for Charity, is to make it really accessible with people that you might not think you get to speak to, that you actually have an intimate conversation with. So
yes, thank you, Christine. You too. So.
Did Pangolin come through for you at all, Pea?
Yes, Pangolin did, and I just had the feeling of complete softness and presence with them. We didn't want to enter into verbal, non-verbal communication. We were just existing together. But if you would like me to ask them if they have a message for the group, we could possibly do that later.
That would be great. It's interesting what you say, Pea, because that resonates a lot with me, softness and presence, just existing together. Because when you spend time with them, they seem to be very involved with what they're doing. They constantly sniffing and looking for food and eating ants, but you can, when they know you, you can sit very close to them. And in fact, often they move very close to you and sort of forage for ants just around your feet. And it is very, very much a feeling of softness, definitely presence and existing together. I would say that those words encapsulate the experience I've had when I've been with pangolins.
Lovely.
I would say that what happened to you is that you were with a pangolin in a situation where it was foraging.
Yeah. And busy doing that. And I pulled up the message, Christine, that was given to me for the talking with the ancient ones from the pangolins. And actually it resonates with what you just said, Alexis. So maybe I'll just read this. It's really short, don't worry. This is what the pangolins were communicating on the 30th of November last year. We are earth creatures because we sensitize the earth. Nowhere in our time has this been done as much as it is now. Do not feel sorry for us. The energy is not useful. Be kind, be loving, be strong. Enjoy your life. Bring joy into our creation. Release the fears, the barriers, the pain. Do not feel sorry for us. We are strong and fluid. We respect your gains, your transgressions. We know who you are. You are learning and growing, quite slow, quite steady. Do not feel sorry for us. Learn to live in love, in truth, in harmony.
Thank you, P, for bringing that forward, and Alexis for sharing what you received. Just looking in the chat, Denise, would you like to share about, because I know your background and your work, about hearing from the animals who've been in rescues and shelters?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Hear you great.
Okay. And as Christine knows, I have been involved in trying to bring animal communication to shelters and rescues. And I've been involved in pilot projects that are demonstrating the benefits and hopefully can be used to raise funds for it. So during this experience that we just had, I asked the representatives of the shelter, I'm gonna cry, and excuse me, and rescue animals, what I could do to help them. And essentially what they said was to bring animal communication, because that would make the jobs of the people who work in the shelters easier. And that's all I can say. But it's true. It's true. I mean, because they have such a difficult job. And I thought it was interesting that instead of focusing on helping the animals directly, they were concerned about making the jobs of the people who work with them easier. So, and excuse me for falling apart.
No.
You don't need to apologize for having a heart, my darling, and caring about them. I think it's great that you reached out to them.
Thank you, Denise, for being willing to share with heart, with vulnerability. There's something in the chat I'd like to pick up here, P, that Kathy started with and Alexis found interesting as well. And I think it's important. Kathy says, I find it interesting that the pangolin said, don't feel sorry for us a few times in that message. And I think in my experience, P, it's very common for people to project their own feelings onto other animal species, and
Right.
Animals can teach us another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, P, from your experience about what is useful?
Yeah, I think we talk about a sweet spot between care and overcare, and to be effective which, you know, I really want to be effective when I'm doing my work. I don't want to be, I could have said something rude then, but I pulled it back. I don't want to be messing about. I want to, you know, I want to be doing stuff that works. You know, the Sagittarian in me wants to hit the target, not just be shooting around. So it's very easy to drop down into overwhelm when we care, when we're compassionate, animal lovers. And the downside of that is that it makes us ineffective. It means that we don't always have the emotional strength in order to rise above it or to park it so that we can be there for the animals that are the ones having the experience. You know, literally on it's Saturday now, aren't we? I kind of like, where am I with the days? Yesterday morning, I was communicating with a dog who had been murdered. And I could have completely crumbled at that and thought, oh my God, this is terrible, you know, being sobbing. But I've learned that really my role, and, you know, I'd encourage it in those that want to make a difference to animals, is to put myself in the paws or wings or whatever of that species and go, but this is their experience. And the best thing I can do is to allow them to share that with them, with me, and to be the strength and to be the higher frequency, so that they can rise up of those, out of those low frequencies of pain and suffering and trauma, and rise up into where I'm going to be resonating with them for my sharing with them, which is love and joy and compassion and gratitude. Because that gives them a chance to be free of the pain for a short time, and sometimes permanently, because then they're like, they can anchor in that. My life does not have to be this all the time, because there's this one human being on the planet who says it can be different, who shared this emotion with me, and therefore there are kind humans out there. I've also done work in animal shelters, and I've taken groups in there and held workshops in them. And it's the one thing that the animals complain about the most, actually, is that people who come to view them will come in with the intention of adopting, so positive, but then see them and read their story and then completely project the negative emotions. You know, oh my God, it's terrible. Oh, I can't look. Oh no, we can't adopt this one. Look what everything they've gone through. And so they've basically done an emotional dump on that animal, and then they leave. And so what I was teaching students, and also those that are carers in the shelters, is the importance of owning our emotional frequencies and being there in the pause of those animals, and always giving them hope. Hope is such a strong emotion to offer to species going through something that looks like it will always be like that. We go in, we share, we communicate that things can be different. And also we have to remember that, you know, the imagination has created everything that exists. So visualizing, visioning, dreaming is incredibly powerful as a tool. So with our own lives, but also with the animals' lives, I will ask animals in shelter, what do you want? You know, what kind of family or existence do you want? Do you want to live with other animals? Do you want city life, country life? You know, what do you choose? And let's match you up to your desires, where you're going to feel happiness. Let's attract that in. Let's picture that in as much detail as possible and attract that to you, because I really do believe in the law of attraction too.
Thank you, Pea. That's so powerful. And thank you, Kathy, for asking such a common question and such an important question, and it makes such a difference in how we approach it. So it's time to start wrapping up already. So I'd like to offer and invite Pea the and Alexis both an opportunity to just briefly share with us any news of upcoming events that we might want to know about.
Alexis, would you like to share first? Maybe just, say what are you focusing on with your work right now with the pangolins, and any ways that people could maybe get involved with that?
P, at the moment, there's just a lot of travel, a lot of collaborations going on, which is fantastic. We just attended a workshop in Hoedspruit that was held by the Royal Foundation, which is the Prince and Princess of Wales. That's Prince William and Catherine. And United for Wildlife, which is an organization that they've formed, and it was hosted by them, and the theme was following the money, and it was very, very high level presentations by people involved with intelligence around in the financial sector, so banks, looking at following the money, through people's finances. And law enforcement was there, and the South African government's Fusion Centre, which also interprets information, and the transport sector, planes, shipping, and all of that. So it's very much intelligence around that, and technology that's been developed to identify wildlife contraband as it goes through those different sectors. So, this is all the kind of work that we're involved in. I'm about to go up to Ghana, where there's a West African a strategy a conference as well, bringing in partners from all over West Africa, which are all pangolin rangers, and so, for me, we just keep pushing on every level, and we don't know where the tipping point is. And, raising human consciousness, for me, I say it again and again, is probably the essence of it all. And that's why, even just what you shared with us today, for me, is so valuable. When I think of my own conflicts and even the messages that came through, which were reiterated by your message from Pangolin on, I've just filled in so many papers here, but that message from Pangolin, which was I can't find it now, but don't feel sorry for us. And of course, I felt that feeling sorry removes joy, and I wrote that down before you said it, and it just removes that joyful aspect. And then your frequency, and what you're bringing, and that is just so powerful in terms of changing one's own behavior and perspective, hugely important. The higher frequency, and I've got it all in my notes here, P, just owning your emotions, and the communication that helps animals to rise up. I want to go through all of my notes again, but I think for me, I think everything that you've said today has been personally very instructive for me. Also the idea, and why I find it difficult to do animal communication, and I can see some images, but they're not coming through strongly enough. And I think that's because, of my external impositions that I put on myself in general, and that idea of just sinking down into value and meaning, and what is really meaningful for me in the work that I do, where I see and perceive, the value, and then communicating that value authentically is the thing that will help me to be more powerful in the work that I do.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
And P, what's coming up for you?
Well, I've mentioned it. Well, I invite everyone to please join us as we're coming together as a gathering for the Conversations with Nature World Summit, which is from the 12th to the 15th of April. And it's free to register. You can watch each day for free for 24 hours. You can also upgrade to the All Access Pass if you want to have longer, and also join us for Q&A with our speakers, and loads of bonuses, including free guest membership to the Pride, my membership, so that you can start experiencing these month-to-month communications with the different species. And all you have to do is go to conversationswithnature.net or my website, animalthoughts.com, and you will find it, and just need to register. And then we can send you the links to access all of the different elements. And in fact, you get free gifts just for registering, because that's how I roll.
That's how you roll. Pangolin P rolls like that.
I roll like the pangolin.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, P. Thank you, Alexis. So I want to remind everyone here about next steps just before we close. So everyone who's registered for today will receive a follow-up email from me. If you don't see it, check your spam folder, because filters are really stringent these days. You're going to get a link that's time sensitive to access a replay. It's valid for 7 days. I'll make sure I put an expiry date and time on it so that you're clear. And you might want to rewatch it and re-experience it and see what comes up and what sinks in, and enjoy further conversations. As I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, all the links to P and her work, including the upcoming summit, and to Alexis.
And I completely forgot to say that it's amazing that Christine is one of our speakers this year. Sorry, my darling.
That's okay.
But you need to register now, because Christine is speaking on day 1 and you don't want to miss it.
Well, thank you, P. So it's kind of funny how it came about, because I invited P to come speak here because I wanted her to share her news, help her share her news about the summit, because every year I tell everyone to go watch the summit and I pencil off those 4 days. And little did I know that she would invite me to speak in the summit. So it was kind of an interesting turn of events.
That's the energy working.
Yeah. So basically the follow-up email has the replay, has the links to P and to Alexis. So P, Animal Thoughts, and Alexis, the African Pangolin Working Group. And so, like I said, if you want to follow their newsletter, social media, and support them in other ways, those are great ways to do it. A week from today, if you know somebody that you think, oh, they missed this, I wish they could have seen this, a public replay will be available for $20 Canadian, so slightly less. I will share the links. I will share it with P as well, so you can help this conversation spread. And so I just want to thank P and Alexis for today. I want to thank the pangolins. I want to thank Texas giraffe and whales and all the animals that step forward to speak to you. There's a couple of comments in the chat that I just want to honor before opening up, asking you all to unmute and say a group goodbye and thank you. So Denise had an appointment, but she just wanted to say, P, that your comments were truly inspirational and really helpful. And thank you to us both for doing it. And Claire, thank you, Claire. Claire is acknowledging she's at the beginning, right at the beginning of her journey into animal communication, and she's currently reading your book, P, Animal Communication Made Easy. Thank you for today. I will particularly take away from this not to dump negative emotions on animal that I feel sorry for, but to give them hope.
Thank you.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Claire, for sharing that. And Kathy says, Claire, she's also starting to read the same book, P's book, and thanks all of us, P, Alexis, and I today. And she follows you and did the summit. So she loves these group events. Thank you. You're welcome, Melissa. a lot of people just getting started today from what I'm hearing. I know not everyone, but there's a lot of people, where should you go next? And this is again where you can trust your intuition, you can trust the guidance of the animals. They will have lots of opportunities to share with you. So Pea's just popped in the chat. The website, Conversations for Nature. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, P, for putting in the website for Alexis. Oh, you're so welcome, Alexis. You're welcome, Mo. So I'm going to ask everyone to unmute now. And we'll get everybody unmuted first. And just your opportunity to say a group goodbye and thank you to P and Alexis for being here today and being so generous with their hearts and their time and their resources, and for all that they do for the animal kingdom. Thank you. And thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody, for being here, for listening and being with us in this collaborative space. I'm so grateful that we shared space and energy together. So much, much love to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your contributions today, which I know are coming to the African Pangolin Working Group. And please know that they will be used for, the conservation of the space of the species, and for alleviating in whatever way we can, the trade of this mammal that's been on this planet for 85 million years. So long, long, long time.
And Alexis, I'll make that donation later today in my time.
Oh, thanks,
and
Christine.
Tomorrow, everyone will see the donation total that you've contributed to in the follow-up email. So thank you again for being here, whether you're on the live or the replay. Take care. Bye now.
Thanks so much, everyone. Much love.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.